Welcome to Two Chicks and a Horror Flick, a weekly horror movie review podcast. I'm Tawny Ray.
And I'm Felicia Connor. Subscribe to get new episodes every Wednesday. We dive into trivia, drink a little whiskey, and of course, give our no BS opinions.
Join our Discord server or message us on social media to talk all things scary.
And if you like the show, consider supporting us on Patreon.
You can find all these links on our website, twochicksandahorrorflick.com. Thanks for listening.
Now let's get scared.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, we have a very special guest because Felicia is actually camping, doing her very first camping trip with her family. So we've got Paige back.
Hi. Ever? Hold on. Sorry. Ever? Camping ever? Oh my God.
Well, she hasn't been camping ever. And her husband, I think, just went earlier this year with like a group of friends. I know, it's kind of crazy, right?
I've never heard of a person who's never gone camping.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay,
and he loved it. He loved it. So
Great.
he was like, we're all going.
We're all going. You know what? Good thing she's had years and years and years of horror movies to tell her how scary camping can really be.
Exactly. I hope she's not having a very scary time.
Yeah. She's going to have fun and not get murdered.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, she's definitely not getting murdered. If there is anybody in this world who is not it is Felicia 100,000%.
Yeah. I should learn some things from her then.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I totally derailed your intro with that fun fact.
I could tell you were like, hold on.
Hold on. Yeah.
Anyway, so welcome back, Paige. If you
So happy.
haven't listened to Paige's other episode that she was on with us, we did Misery together. Mm-hmm. And Paige has a podcast of her own called Film versus Movie, on top of being one of my best friends, obviously.
Yes,
and we used to work together. We live here together in Idaho.
Mm-hmm. In the same house, actually. So this is what you're seeing.
This is weird.
Same house. Yeah, just different rooms.
Anyway, but do you want to plug the podcast and tell people about it in case they haven't heard about it?
Yes, actually. So Film versus Movie is me and three of my friends. Technically, one of them is my husband. And we treat our opinions as if they were fact, and we debate whether something is a film versus a movie. And I definitely recommend y'all listen to it, but do not expect consistency. Or advertising or any kind of planning of any kind. Okay? If you just want to hear people having a good time, talking shit, talking about movies or films, we're here for you. Nice. Sometimes, inconsistently, we are here for you.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I didn't prepare any specific questions.
Perfect.
Except for ones that I literally wrote down as we started.
In front of me. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, what are you drinking? I forgot to hit that on the top.
Yeah. Let me tell you. Number one, grapefruit radler. Very basic. Because I'm extra, but with not a lot of time, I really wanted to make a themed drink. And I love to make a good cocktail. But time ran out today. And so we went to the store and grabbed my trusty favorite grapefruit radler. Stiegel grapefruit radler for anybody else. And I'm also drinking water, which is a rarity for me. I've had this all day, and this is how much I've drank. But because Tawny and I drank last night, I felt like shit today. So I'm drinking some water, and I'm drinking some beer, and probably more beer than water, because that's who I am as a person.
I'm glad that you're drinking some water. It's definitely not enough.
No.
You'll have to drink that whole thing while we're recording.
Oh, God, I'll try.
Rehydrate.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you got?
I am drinking some Four Roses bourbon.
Oh.
Now that the weather has turned, I'm back on the bourbon train.
Train. Is that drink that Jade got yesterday, did it have bourbon in it? The spicy drink?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Maybe it was whiskey. All right. Wait.
Whiskey. There is a bourbon whiskey, but there's other types of whiskey.
Okay.
So
I'm like, am I just describing the same thing? Okay. Well.
I don't know. Yeah.
Cheers. Cheers to our good Halloween-y drinks.
Yes. To go along with our Halloween-y episode, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. And life and month.
and everything.
That, I'm trying to do a transition. I'm trying to do a segue here into
this.
Halloween movies.
Yes.
Because I want to know, what are your go-to, just like Over the Garden Wall, what other go-to Halloween movies do you have and that you recommend for people?
Obviously Scream, because it's my fave. I love Halloween I love horror shorts, right? And I have sent out a few horror shorts to some close friends from when I worked at the horror film festival. And so I actually recommend, if you can, go online and find some horror film festivals, like, or films that have gone to them, because those are great. One of the ones I recommend the most, which isn't super horror, it's really disgusting, it's called Gwilliam, and I know you can find that online. I truly, because we watched it in October many years ago, every time October comes around, I'm like, I kind of want to watch Gwilliam again.
Dude, yeah. As you said it, it gave me an urge.
Yes, it's
that I didn't think I'd ever have to rewatch
Gwilliam.
Yeah.
It also kind of depends on, like, I mean, it's hard, right? When you always love horror and you always want to watch horror, it's like, what makes it different and special? But the fact that it's more so the, like, amount that I just want to fucking pound when October hits. So I really want to rewatch, and I do too frequently, The Haunting of Hill House.
Oh yeah.
Haunting of Bly Manor. I really want to rewatch Hush. Right, I'm in a Mike Flanagan phase because all of his stuff comes out, you know, during the spooky season, and I just love him. I just love his stuff. And so, as I said earlier, The Midnight Club came out, so I'm gonna watch that. It's not like a go-to so much. It's usually like something that I watched when I was a kid. So yeah, it's always Scream. It's usually Hocus Pocus. Sometime I always get the vibe of like, oh, I really want to watch Halloween Town, but like I just want to go to Halloween Town, and since I don't go to Halloween Town, I just sometimes watch it. But if it's like a nostalgic, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, Halloween Town is one of those that I have tried to go back and rewatch.
It's probably not good.
It's really bad, dude. It's like really bad.
It's like a Disney Channel original movie, so they're not good.
Yeah, but it's like even worse. You know what I mean? Like Hocus Pocus, I could watch
for sure
2 million times and not get sick of it. Like Halloween Town is extra bad, but
that's like a kids movie for sure.
I still love it, and there is some nostalgia there, but yeah. Definitely understandable. I wanted to... Okay, here's a question for you.
Yeah.
2 things. What is Midnight Club on?
Netflix.
It is?
Mm-hmm. It literally came out yesterday.
I opened Netflix earlier because I was like, there's got to be something new on here for me to watch, and I did not see that. So
I don't know, because Christopher Pike wrote YA horror novels. I don't know if this is a YA focused, like, show, but I don't give a fuck, dude, if it's Mike Flanagan. And there's also this director who I was creeping on for a long time. Her name's Axel Caroline, and I've just been following her for a while, and I like all the shit she does, and she's been working with like Mike Flanagan more so. She did an episode of Bly Manor, but she also did an episode of The Midnight Club, and so I've been seeing these like little like drops for a while, and I'm just like, God, I cannot wait for this to pop up. I don't care if it's for kids. It's probably not for kids. Okay?
Yeah.
It's probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah.
She did one of the Amazon horror movies.
Yeah, she did.
Like last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't she?
She did.
Yeah.
And she also, I think, did an episode or two of one of the American Horror Story too. I don't know. Women directors. Women in horror, man. You got to follow them. You got to love them.
Yeah. They're great. Yeah. I saw Gigi on a fucking Swiffer commercial like 2 days ago. I was like, because we'll just mute it when we're watching like anything with commercials while it plays, and Jade and I were like talking, and I looked up at the screen and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
That's Gigi Guerrero.
Gigi Saul Guerrero. Yeah. She also, we first learned about her also during the film festival. This is where I'm telling y'all, like, my go-to is always like horror shorts. She was part of a submission from a team called Lucha Gore, and it was so fucking gory, which is usually not my type of horror, but I just was like, good for this team. Like, good for this team. It was wild, and it was like Mexican wrestling, cannibalism, fighting, bloody, wild. Just wild. Yeah. That's probably what I'm gonna do tomorrow, is curate my list of horror shorts. What do you watch? What is your go-to?
Hocus Pocus, of course. Yeah. Somebody asked me this the other day at work too, and I was like, I don't really know if I have an answer. I do like always going to watch the Evil Dead remake, which we are also going to talk about later in the month with Trevor.
Not me.
Yes. Paige can't hang.
I can't hang. That's the one I can't hang, y'all.
That's a little too gory. I don't know what else. Like, I did get a weird urge today to watch like Terminator 2. I don't know.
Okay,
It's
I
such a
have not
weird.
seen Terminator 2, but I heard it's the best one.
It's really fucking good.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
maybe we should watch it.
I do want to make Jade watch Haunt, which I watched for the first time last year.
I'm like, have I seen that? I don't know.
Maybe not, because it flew way the fuck under the radar. It was like,
Okay.
I think 2019.
Okay.
And it's Eli Roth is like a producer on it. And it's like a horror movie about these people who go to a haunted house.
Clowns on the cover?
Yeah, it's like a clown face, clown mask. Yep, that's it.
Yeah. Okay, no, I didn't watch that.
Highly recommend. I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm going to make Jade watch that this year, because I watched it for the first time last year, really fucking loved it. And then, but there's so much new shit. So like more than like old stuff, I want to watch a bunch of the new shit. Like the new Hellraiser is out.
Just came out.
Yeah, like 2 days ago or something. I almost watched it today, but I felt like I didn't have enough time before recording.
Fair.
And then Midnight Club, I didn't even know about that.
Yeah.
Pearl, which we still haven't seen.
I know, we
We're
gotta
trying to go see that for weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently.
Yeah. So it's all new shit for me. But did you end up watching Hocus Pocus too?
No, not yet. I'm going to, though, because I love Hocus Pocus. And one year I did like a volunteer thing where I went to the library and taught a bunch of children how to do practical effects like the movie Hocus Pocus at their house. And it was, children are hard to work with in groups like that, but it was really cute. I loved doing it.
Fun.
And I taught them about dry ice and how they made the witches fly, and I don't know why I'm telling you this. I just miss doing it. I just miss doing all that stuff. Yeah, shit. You had reminded me of something and I totally spaced it. But yeah, I am just trying to fucking really just pound town as much horror as I can this month.
Yeah. I keep feeling that way, and then I'm like, oh god, but what do I actually start with?
Yeah.
And so I keep putting it off.
You should write all the things you want and you put it in a candy bowl and you draw one out, and that's the thing you watch that day.
Oh, that's a good idea. Just randomize.
Yeah. Oh, Practical Magic. That's what I was gonna say.
Oh yeah. We vowed to come and watch Practical Magic, didn't we? When we were drinking.
Yes, I forgot none of you had seen it. Okay, we're watching Practical Magic this month. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
We're doing it.
I know. Can you believe, like, I'm talking to people who aren't here. Hey, listeners, can you believe that these people so close to my life, you don't know me, but like, can you believe they haven't watched Hocus Pocus? That movie was so influential. Practical Magic. Sorry. Fuck. Yeah. I've had like half of a beer.
Just clarifying. Yeah. I don't know how I even, when Paige brought it up, I was all, that one with Cher? She's like, no.
Yeah. No.
That's not it.
Not that one.
No.
Not that one. I just promise you the visual effects are not going to hold up, but I do not fucking care.
Yeah, that's okay. We can remember.
You're going to remember what it was like in 1998 or something.
We can put ourselves back there and say,
God,
this was what
so
they had.
Good. It's so
I'm
good.
Excited.
Sorry.
No.
Sorry, I'm like on this tangent of like, I know we have a movie to talk about, but have you guys all seen Practical Magic? It's like 20 plus years old.
What do you think? You think we're ready to get into this? That was it for all my random questions.
I'm so ready. I'm so ready.
I'm fucking ready too.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about this. Okay, so we didn't even say. Oh no, you did say it at some point.
I mentioned it in passing 20 minutes ago.
We're talking about My Best Friend's Exorcism from this year, 2022. And it is based off of a book by the same name, written by Grady Hendrix.
Love him.
And yes, that's exactly why I brought Paige onto this episode. Usually, we give people the choice. We say, hey, you should come on the podcast and pick a movie. This time I said, Paige, we're doing this movie. Okay?
Yes.
Hopefully that's cool with you.
Absolutely.
So I don't know. Do you want to just real quick give a little history with your just how you came to Grady Hendrix and what you know about him and all that?
Yeah. Actually, I came to Grady Hendrix because of My Best Friend's Exorcism. I am a sucker for good design, right? So if I'm like perusing a bookstore and I see something or like lotions or candles or whatever, if the design is well done, I'm all shit. I probably got to buy that. Typically, this is a terrible like stereotype or whatever to perpetuate, but like if the design is really good, it means the wine is bad or whatever, right? Like if you have to put that much in, not My Best Friend's Exorcism. It is such a good fucking book. I recommend it constantly to everyone. It's probably one of my top 3 favorite books of all time. It is incredible. So I read that book and was like, I did not know that I was missing this in my life. And lucky for me, Grady Hendrix writes a lot of horror novels, and he writes a lot of novels, and I think they exclusively all have great female leads in them as well, which is, you know, unique in the horror novel spectrum. And so I just plowed through everything else that I could of his, and have just kind of been watching what he's doing. He also wrote or worked on the screenplay Satanic Panic. And so, which again, his writing style is so, it's like not so niche and specific that you're like ostracized from everything, but it is really unique. And it does have such a good personality to it. And so you can kind of feel that throughout. And I love it. I love it. So he wrote My Best Friend's Exorcism. He wrote Horror Store, which is like an IKEA knockoff that I loved. He wrote We Sold Our Souls, which I did not think I was going to love, and then fucking loved that, right? He wrote The Final Girl Support Group. He wrote, so just, he even has a collection called Paperbacks from Hell. And he goes into these old ass like 60s, 70s, 80s horror novels and like reads the worst of the worst and like sends out email blasts about them, and he has an entire book about them, and he actually is even like re-releasing them to like the new market again, so you can go to the bookstore and you can find an old ass book that's been republished with the little Paperbacks from Hell approval from Grady Hendrix.
Cute. I didn't know that. I thought it was just a book of a collection of like
it
the
is.
covers.
Yeah, I think they just started doing that because I've just started like kind of seeing them pop up, and so yeah, it's a cool looking book. But I am probably gonna dive into the Hendrix recommended Paperbacks from Hell weird stuff, because it's just when you know somebody, when you can tell somebody loves horror, like you feel it, and you can feel that in his writing, and I fucking love him. One of my absolute favorite authors. And so I was very excited to know that My Best Friend's Exorcism got picked up, and to know we were going to get to watch it. And that is where I'll end that statement for now.
Yes. And so Paige recommended to me this book, and I read her copy of it and absolutely loved it. Totally fell in love with the book. I don't usually read like a lot of, I up until the last year, I haven't read a lot of fiction, and I almost have never probably read like horror books, novels, like, and it really, like, I loved it. And so then I went to read more Grady Hendrix, and I've read the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires.
Yeah, I'm like, I know I'm missing one. I loved that one, which is set in the same town as My Best Friend's Exorcism with different characters, but still the same vibe. So anyway, sorry. Maybe you were going to say that and I'm interrupting you.
Oh, no, you're good. And I will say My Best Friend's Exorcism is my fave. I also tried to read a little bit of Horror Store, but I ended up falling off like halfway through because I was listening to the audiobook. I just think I don't.
The audiobook was hard because the format of the physical book is like an IKEA catalog, so it has ads through it. And so when you listen, because I also listen to the audiobook, so when you listen to the audiobook, there's like advertisements randomly, and it takes you out of it because there is some like gruesome shit happening in this haunted, fucked up IKEA, but like you get stopped with fun, cheesy ads, and if you were physically going through the book, it would probably be a more enjoyable and immersive experience. But I agree.
Right.
My Best Friend's Exorcism, in my opinion, is his best shit.
Yeah. Okay. That's good to know from somebody who's read more. I tried to start reading Final Girl Support Group. I have it back here.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It didn't grab me right away. Yeah. I'll probably try to pick it back up and keep reading.
Did you do the audiobook?
No.
Okay, the audiobook, I do love this, and I have a bias because I've met her and she's wonderful. But the audiobook is narrated by Adrienne King, the final girl from Friday the 13th, and like he sent it to her and she loved it. And so if you listen to the audiobook, it's like from a final girl, which I think is really nice.
That is really cool. Yeah. Isn't the main character named Adrienne?
Oh, it might be. Well, actually, I don't remember.
I don't remember either, but right anyway, but
you.
I'm not going
just kidding.
It's too far.
Grab it. Don't grab
too
it.
far. But he does have a very specific like vibe. Like when you read his books, it feels a very specific way. And I say that only having read 2 of them, but like for the 2 books to have such a similar feeling when you walk away from them, and I feel like it's a good mix of like comedy complete relatableness and horror.
Like
there is
actual
some like
horror.
it's very scary moments. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gory because a lot of times you'll get something that's like horror comedy and it's like very funny with a sprinkling of comedy, or somebody who exclusively tries to read horror novels. Like sometimes the horror is the depravity of man and you're like, get the fuck out of here. Okay. That's not what I want. I want a fucking possession. Give me a fucking possession in my best friend's body. Please. You know what I mean?
Please. Yes.
Give me some fucking speaking in tongues and some weird projectile vomiting and some ghost shit. Okay. I talk a big game. Thank God Trevor's like 10 feet away from me because I would be scaring myself right now just thinking about this stuff. But yeah, no, he's great. He's great.
Yeah.
So
super awesome.
Everybody better read it. Please. Everybody just pause this podcast. Go read My Best Friend's Exorcism. Come back.
And then come back. It'll take you like a week, maybe.
Maybe. I just reread it in like 2 days.
Okay. I was wondering how long it took you.
This is not a book podcast though, but I'm trying to make it be.
No, it's okay. We had to talk about it because it's going to be important later.
It's going to be important. I'll probably bring it up again.
Yeah, but we'll refocus. And listen, when I came into this conversation, I was like, we should try to talk about the movie as a movie by itself for the first little bit of the discussion.
Yes.
It will be very difficult.
But I'm gonna.
And then we're going to
so
come
good
back.
At it. Okay, thank God.
To the 100% we got to cover.
We have to.
But we're going to do that, I think, second.
Okay.
As much as we can try to do that.
I was even, my sweet, loving significant other was like, Paige, you can't just fucking talk about how much you love the book this whole time. Talk about the movie. And I was all, I'm gonna, probably.
We'll see.
This is my second time on this podcast. Second time raving about one of my favorite books. And then the movie version of it. But Misery was really good in both aspects.
Yeah.
A little shade there for you.
Anyway, okay, so to get back on the details of the movie here.
Yes.
This movie was directed by Damon Thomas, who I looked up and because he did not sound familiar to me. And he's done mostly TV, like episodes of Killing Eve, Dracula, the BBC, like miniseries, and Penny Dreadful.
Okay.
And Grady Hendrix was an executive producer on this too, which I feel like is notable.
I hope so.
In this moment.
Okay.
For cast, we have Elsie Fisher as Abby Rivers, Amaya Miller as Gretchen Lang, Rachel Cano as Margaret Chisholm, Kathy Eng as Glee Tanaka, and Christopher Lowell as Christian Lemon. And if you're like me and you're like, where the fuck do I know that guy?
I did it too.
You know him from Glow.
Yep.
And Inventing Anna. That's what I wrote down. Were there any other ones for you?
I don't even remember. I just remember looking at his thing going, oh, he's been in just like enough shit that I've recognized him. Yeah.
I didn't feel like he had been in as much shit as I thought he was going to be in based on how like familiar he looked to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, How I Met Your Father. But that would include me admitting I watched a couple episodes of that. And The Help. So.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen either of those, so I usually just make note of stuff that I know and that I've seen.
Huh. Well.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm surprised you didn't watch The Help. It was like a big thing.
Yeah. I feel like I missed it.
Yeah.
I missed when everybody was watching it, and now I just have no desire.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Okay, so let's get into some ratings. Rotten Tomatoes gave this a 53%. IMDb gave it a 6.3 out of 10, and 54% of Google users liked it. And I went to Letterboxd to see, and that was a 2.5.
Okay.
So it's all similar in the way that it's like middle of the road.
Okay.
You know?
Generous.
Yeah. 50-ish%, I would say.
6 point something out of 10 IMDb?
Yeah, IMDb was the high one.
Okay.
Now I'm not, though, actually.
No,
Let me double check.
I don't mean you, babe. I mean IMDb is a babe.
No, but I did mistype it. It is 5.3.
Oh.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. I was thinking, I thought they were the same number. They are. It's 5.3.
Okay. Middle of the board, right?
Yeah.
Across the board. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I couldn't find budget and box office numbers, so that's all we got.
Probably because it was a straight to Amazon Prime thing, right? I don't know if they're like all that's pretend money and they're their own box office, you know?
Right, and I don't know, if they're sharing. I don't know if we've done any other Amazon Prime movies if they release budget.
Yeah, I don't know
numbers either.
Probably low. That's what I'm gonna say.
We're getting a real sense of how you felt about this movie here. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to jump into 2 Minutes with Tawny.
Yes.
Turn back now if you don't want this spoiled for you. Abby Rivers and Gretchen Lang have been BFFs forever. They attend a Catholic school in the 80s and decide to go for a little trip with their friend group to a cabin. One of the boys' girlfriends shows up with some acid, which they all take and go skinny dipping. Gretchen and Abby go off on their own and explore an abandoned building that has a scary local story about it. Once inside, they notice the darkness in one of the rooms dancing around unnaturally. They think they're seeing things because of the acid, but then they hear a noise. They check it out to find a creepy shrine-like setup with an eyeball in the center. It moves and scares them, so they run, but Gretchen trips and they get separated. Abby and the other girls search for Gretchen back in the scary house together, and when they find her, she's clearly not okay. Later at school, the girls watch an assembly with a group of bodybuilders called the Lemon Brothers. They lift weights for Jesus. That was the best way I could describe that in a very short way. Yeah, it doesn't really make sense.
No, it does if you like Grady Hendrix. Continue.
Right, exactly. Gretchen is irritable and vacant. After Gretchen tells Abby that someone attacked her in the house and continues to come for her at night, Abby assumes she was raped by Wallace, the boyfriend that was there with them that night. Being a good friend, Abby tells Gretchen's parents and school what happened, but no one takes it seriously aside from the fact that they had taken drugs. This upsets Gretchen, who asked Abby not to tell anyone about what happened, and they continue to be driven apart by the demon possessing Gretchen. She feeds tapeworms to one friend and gives the other a brownie with nuts in it, knowing that she's allergic. Finally, Abby realizes she's been possessed and gets help from Christian Lemon, who says she needs an exorcism. Abby and Christian drug Gretchen to get her back to the lake house to perform the exorcism. Christian bails when the demon makes him see his mother, who died. So now it's all up to Abby. She exorcises the demon through the power of friendship, and Gretchen moves away. They remain best friends and visit the lake house every year. The end.
You did it. Hey,
that
was a great 2 minutes with Tawny.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Okay, so Paige, let's start with you. Okay. How did you feel about this movie? Clearly, you were not impressed.
I like to think that I am a person who can separate the book and the movie, right? And I go, it's two different experiences. And I'm here to have this experience. And I was ready, right? I saw the trailer and I said, this is going to be a long answer. Sorry. Saw the trailer and I go, this is going to be cute. It's going to be fun. It's going to be campy. I'm here for it. I'm probably just going to like it. I think I even said that to you. Based on bias alone, I'm probably just going to like this movie. If I just think about the movie, it just didn't get there for me, and that hurts to say, because I have even been accused of like letting my bias of how much I love this book come into the play, right? Because even Trevor's like, it wasn't bad, and I'm like, it wasn't bad, but also it wasn't good. Like,
right,
it wasn't good. And I just think, unfortunately, the bar for horror feels so low to a mass audience, right? That you're like, oh, I mean, it wasn't terrible, it wasn't even scary. And it's like, watch some more horror, have some standards, and know that this was not very good. For lots of reasons that are not related to the book, which I can dive into. Anyway, and you, Tawny?
That was not a very long answer. That was very concise.
Oh, okay, good.
I feel like.
I'm a goddamn professional.
I agree. I didn't like it.
I'm sad.
I'm
so sad I didn't like it.
Me too. And I tried to have the same thought process. Okay, if I separate the book entirely from this movie and I just watched the movie, it's really hard to do that because you can't like unlearn, you can't unread that book. Yeah. But I was like, this, I had the same thought. This isn't terrible, but it's not good.
No. And you're like, nothing makes sense. Right?
Yeah.
Nothing makes sense. that you're constantly questioning characters' motives. You're constantly like, how the fuck did I get here? How the fuck did I get here? How did I get here? We're just going to leave? We don't care about this? We just don't trust this girl? We like, you don't, I don't know. There's so many things that we could like dive into, right? Of like the reasons why. But at the end of the day, I really feel like we just never got anywhere that made you give a shit about anyone enough to like what's happening.
Yes. Yes, 100%. I feel like it was soulless.
Yes, I agree. And God, I already didn't want to say this, but truly, this book is so full of like such a peak amount of heartfelt emotion and horror that you go, how do you have such fucking incredible material and don't realize that this is a story about two fucking best friends and not just something that is crazy that happened to a girl that you were friends with in high school? You know what I mean? Like,
right. Yeah.
I know that the screenplay writer on this, it was her first feature. She'd like done some TV. It was also kind of campy teenage drama stuff. She did Awkward, some episodes of Awkward, which I loved that show back in the day, right? Like, I was like hopeful. But like, I just feel like she didn't know that the source material wasn't just about like, here's a fucking crazy exorcism that happened and that's all you guys are going to care about. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, totally.
God, I tried to hold off on bringing up that book as long as I could. That's about 30 seconds.
We'll keep trying to hold the book discussion until the end. Yeah, but I couldn't figure out what went wrong here. I was like, I can't actually tell, and I feel like it's got to be a combination of writing, acting, directing, and editing. Like, I was like, something just didn't work here, and I feel like today, watching it the second time, I think there were probably issues all around, but I feel like one of the worst probably showings here was the directing, because just like what you're saying, there were like these weird moments within a single scene where people's like whole demeanor switches. And you're like, why is it like that all of a sudden?
Like Margaret in this movie is such a fucking bitch and a half, right? She's so shitty to her friends. She's the worst fucking boyfriend. And you have no context and you have no like believable reason for these people to still be friends with this person. Right?
Totally.
And you're like, oh, we're just here with her. Same with Glee. Like, Glee is just kind of like, I don't know, weak and just kind of like following people around. And it's just like, I just love her. We're just BFFs. And it's like, that doesn't feel like any real emotional relationship. And so then when you get to the most important relationship of Abby and Gretchen, you're just like, how are you two friends? And I'm not going to believe that you're best friends just because you have a fucking light bright in your room that says A plus G equals BFF.
Right, exactly. You know, I feel like that was almost one of the better parts. Like, at least they tried really hard to get us to the point of like, these girls are best friends, have been best friends, and like at least there was something there, but it wasn't enough, like you're saying. Like that read better to me than the relationship with the other girls. Yeah. Because like, exactly what you're saying, like with Margaret, like she is a bitch and a half, and they are just shitty to each other all the time. So like when she turns to her and she's like, oh, what are you drinking? That's some kind of diet shake. And she's like, oh, here, try it. She's like, oh, you want some? And she's like, yeah, I would love to bring you some. She's like, thank you. Yeah. Like the whole so dynamic shifts weird in that moment where they're like, why would you believe now? If you're going to be frenemies, that's fine. Yeah. Have them be frenemies.
Be that from the beginning.
Like, how are you going to go from flirting with her boyfriend? Yeah. And now all of a sudden she believes that you're being very altruistic. Like, there was just like several moments like that where you were like, what? Yes. And that had to have been a directing choice.
That's a good point. Yeah, it might.
Right?
Yeah, I think so. You're right. Because like, God, I was blaming the screenwriter. Sorry, girl. I was blaming the screenwriter a lot on this of like, we're just bouncing and we're jumping and we have no connection and we have no character buildup. And I know this is going to be like a real fucking a bodacious statement that I'm about to make. That's probably not the right word. Egotistical is probably the correct word of the statement I'm about to make. I don't frequently think I could do this better, but I watched that movie and I was like, I 100% could sit down and write a better screenplay for this movie in this allotted time that's going to be a better movie than what I just watched. And I usually
know that you could.
thank you, babe. I usually don't think that, but I genuinely believe I could write this better. I could do it better than what I watched. And that feels really kind of shitty to say for some reason, but I'm like, you just did it. Somebody did it so wrong. I don't know if it's necessarily like the costume, right, department. It was a fun look. It looked pretty fun. It looked like hit the mark on that.
That was one of my positives. That was one of the things I wrote down that I liked.
Don't mean to steal that. Wardrobe. Yep, that was good.
Yeah.
Music was fun.
Yeah, it was all right.
Fine. It was,
all right.
No, you're right. Directing, it probably has a big thing to do about it. Big thing in there to go with
script writing though too. Like I was like, there's something
missing.
Fucky here. Yeah.
It's like, let's just get to the possession. It's scary. Oh, look. Now it's scary, but it's not scary because it's comical. It's like nothing is scary in that. And I know that it can be scary because never mind. I'm not going to make the statement I'm going to make. I also I'm hitting shit. I forgot I did this. I wrote some guest blogs a while ago on like somebody who did a reading blog. And this was one of the books that I wrote a blog post about for her. And so I don't even remember what I said. It was years and years ago. It might be trash, but yeah, I remember thinking like a big part that could have been motivating in this movie is like when Gretchen, I'm probably bouncing around, so I'm so sorry. But
that's fine.
When Gretchen comes
going.
back from being possessed and she gives in to this demon and now she's a fucking mean girl, okay? And she's confident again. She's got great hair again. She's believing and showering again. She's coming back, right? They're mean to Abby. And it's not just like yes, the audience kind of knows. Like in this movie, unfortunately, we know she's possessed, right? We don't have this like, is she just being weird? Because something so good about the source material is that like girls, I'm so sorry, but I'm not calling it the B word. Girls are mean at a certain point to each other, unfortunately, right? Most girls in junior high and in high school go through a really mean phase, really catty. I hope that dies someday. I hope that doesn't, prevail. But like part of it, as you're watching it as an audience member, you want to go, are they just annoyed with her? Like, are they fighting? Or is something actually wrong with this girl? You know what I mean? Is she just being a mean girl and bullying this poor girl? Or is she like, actually, like, there's got to be struggle in that. You can't just be like, my BFF's got a demon in her. Nobody will believe me.
Yes. Yeah. I feel like that tension.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's like totally broken. Yeah. I'm also trying really hard to not talk about the book.
We're not.
Like I'm trying
so hard.
We're not.
We're not.
It is because I'm like trying to think of people who are just gonna watch this movie and not know the book, and like so I don't want to ruin it for those people.
I think that still stands, right? Is like if you had a high school experience, the stereotype is girls are mean to each other in high school, right? So you need a reason why they're BFFs. You need to feel that they're BFFs. You need to have an understanding why when she comes back, she's mean to her, and it's not just. Well, it's like it like loses it when you're like, well, I know she's possessed.
Well, here's another thing that's like similar, is that, we could have had it be that they were on acid and that she was raped. Yeah. Could have. Like, and that could be the driving reason why her behavior is the way that it is. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. Not just the acid, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like the acid could cause the things that they were seeing and hearing. Yeah. And then the like rape or assault or whatever they feel like maybe happened could also could cause the behavioral changes. But there is no tension there because we know that she was possessed and none of that happened. Yeah. But that tension, I feel like, is a really good way to feel throughout the movie.
You want a little bit of an unreliable narrator. You want to be questioning this because... Right. Even if you witnessed something happen to your friend and you were a fucking hoe bag and you ran off, like Abby is the fucking worst in this movie because she just sucks. She's so like meek and like timid and like, I have a lot of makeup on. I don't know. She's fucking annoying. But like, so she leaves her friend who gets scooped up and like, possessed. And like, even though she didn't fully witness it, she just believes it. She just believes it. Oh, yeah, nope, she's possessed. And it's like, there's no weight. And so unfortunately, this is where I'm like, you lose the movie, I think, that fucking early in the movie. Like, genuinely, because we are no longer talking about a movie with a storyline of like, what would you do if your best friend potentially was possessed, right? Because you want to know, like, you don't fucking know. We lose that from the beginning because we see too much, because they want it to be a general audience, people-pleasing movie. And it's like, I don't think it needs to be a slow burn, but you don't need to see this fucking scary shed, like, possession happen, because there's still other ways to do that.
Right. Mm-hmm. And like, so that's exactly what I was going to say. It's not like that in the book, and we can just put a pin in that, come back to it later.
Yeah. Flag it, like that in the book. Flag that. We're coming back. We're coming back for you.
We'll come back.
Yeah.
What else? Let's see. The intro was so like just info dump central. Mm-hmm. Like, I was like, in the first like 4 minutes,
exposition everywhere.
I was like, bro, okay, I get it. Ugh.
Yeah. There's so much for me to not. There's so much that fails in that I'm like, I don't believe y'all are best friends. Like, and because you're not best friends, like truly, like really actually best friends, I don't believe you would do this much for her.
Yeah. You know what I will say in defense of Abby, though, is in the movie, she's running, and the demon somehow sort of speaks to Abby in the way that it sounds like it's Gretchen. She's like, I'm right behind you. Keep running. So there's at least that.
Sure.
You know,
that's nice. That I'll give you that. Yeah.
I'm just trying to give a little bit, like, she doesn't just straight up run away. It's like she thinks she's behind her, but then she's not. Same thing happens to Gretchen, because the voice is like, oh, run this way, trying to separate them, whatever.
Totally.
But so I was like, okay, well, at least there was that. Fair. I didn't love it, but
I didn't love it, but you're right. Like, that did happen.
But there it is. Yes. You know what else I didn't like about it overall? Yeah. I'm just trying to hit my like bullet points that don't have anything to do with the book.
There's like 2.
I know it's not a lot, actually. I'm really having to skip around. This movie really doesn't feel like it trusts you to connect the dots. So everything is fucking served up to you like on a platter. There's like no subtlety.
Yeah.
Like, and that was annoying, because I felt like I was just watching a paint by the numbers. Like, there was some fucking map that, like, the company had put together that was like, well, if this happens, we need to make a reference to it earlier over here. Or if you use an EpiPen, we have to make sure that we see somebody mention an EpiPen earlier in the book, in the movie, you know? Or, like, what was another one? The worm, right? Like, the tapeworms. We have to explain in exposition, like, what happened. I was just like, no, we don't need all this.
I actually think that this movie is really bad at like killing any darlings. Okay. Because I think we could have cut shitty boyfriend, right? We don't need that shitty boyfriend, Stoney Wallace or whatever, nearly as much as he is in it. We do not need him. Get rid of him. He can be a sprinkle of a character. I know that means you're not going to get the scene where he fucking punches the shit out of Abby, but who gives a fuck? Get rid of like Glee. Honestly, like, they did not do her any justice. She was such a bad character with terrible like motivations and not really believable anything, right? That like a peanut allergy, like, I get you're trying to be like, look, she's evil. She's trying to kill this girl with a fucking peanut. It's like, pick a different thing. Or lump her and Margaret. If you're going to put them together so much in the movie anyway, have the thing that happens to them from Gretchen be something that happens to them together, just to knock it out and do it better, because you have a lot of little shitty, poorly done things instead of being really specific about this chick is possessed. Here's the terrible thing she's doing. And not just like for 5 minutes over here and 5 minutes over here and 5 minutes over here. Like, do something better. Get rid of the fucking, if you're going to fuck up your source material this much anyway, like if you're already, if you're already going to go off the book that much, and I understand that you would need to for lots of reasons, right? If you're going to do it that much, do it in a way that makes it good for the movie, better for the movie. That's why I like to think that I go in having like, I'm going to have 2 different experiences, because it's 2 different art forms. So things are going to be different for the movie. But when you just try to hit all the fucking check marks and you do it poorly in a movie, that is when you start going like, this is not well, this is terrible. It's fucking terrible.
Yes, dude. Somehow it was rushed and also like very slow at the same time. Like, I don't know how we accomplished both of those things. I was like, yeah, totally. Because we spent so much fucking time setting up and paying off the things that Gretchen is doing to all the girls.
Yes.
You know, like that's got to be like a fucking 30-minute chunk of this movie. 40 minutes. It's almost half the fucking movie. I don't know. I'm guessing.
But it does feel so
I'm guessing.
long.
Yeah. I got fucking bored watching this the second time today. I actually ended up just completely turning it down and like tuning out for the last like 30 minutes. I couldn't even fucking do it, dude.
That's crazy. Ugh. Yeah, I don't blame you because it is sad. And like her parents are terrible. Like all the parents are terrible.
Dude, okay. Shout out to one parent though. Abby's mom. I fucking loved her.
Yeah.
I thought she has like 20 seconds of fucking screen time. That's it. Maybe a minute and a half or something. And I felt like this is the only realistic parent in the whole parent group. Like she's not going way over the top. This actor is not like, this is my moment to shine, you know, like all the other ones. I feel like I felt like she did a good job.
Yeah.
Do you disagree?
No, she was fine. she's not super memorable to me, right? So when I watched it, I was all, 3 parents is what we got for this movie. 3 parents, 8,000 children. Like, technically 4, I guess, because our boy Jesus Lemon sees the ghost of his mom or whatever. So
right, true.
Which, boo, hated that.
Splitting hairs.
Boo.
Yeah. Okay. We'll have to talk about the book difference there. Also, we'll put a pin in that.
And again, you just don't believe, because you don't have any character buildup with these parents, that all they would care about is that her kid did drugs. You don't believe that. Yeah. You're all, hey, this girl just said your daughter was raped and you just only care about her potentially doing drugs. You're just a terrible parent. And like, again, usually you need to believe that you need to believe any fucking thing in any of this shit. You need to believe any of it. And so, I don't know. There's just so many things like that. There's just so many things that just were not done well, not even in comparison to the book, just like not done well in the sense of a movie, unfortunately.
Yeah. I asked Jade, I was like, because he watched it with me. I was like, what was your read on that? You know, like, how did you feel about it as a movie by itself? And he also felt like it wasn't very good. And it was like, there was a lot of like, what the fuck is going on moments. And I was like, okay, well, that makes me feel better. That we're not just like going in on the book versus movie. It's true. I really thought like, I really was ready to like it. That's the thing. I'm like trying not to sound like a toxic fan here where I'm all, it wasn't as good, but I'm like, I would almost be the other side of a toxic fan where I'm like, I like it just because I like it, you know? But no, that didn't do it to me. And what you and I are both kind of like have not gotten to yet, and I'm about to fucking punch us into. Okay. Punch us in there.
What the fuck is this weird dancing fucking leprechaun troll demon?
I knew.
At the end of the fucking movie. Like, you ruined your entire movie here by bringing out a little dancing demon. You know? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like, I felt the entire movie. Like, you know how, like, you yank the, like, stopper out of a bathtub and, like, the water just drains the fuck? That's exactly how I felt about that moment in this movie. It was just like, because I was like, I was trying really hard to hang in and be like, okay, this is kind of fun. There's some fun jokes. Like, I'm in. I'm going to just try to, like, you know, I'm not really, like, it's not as good as the book, but fine. I'm just going to keep watching this. And then the moment that happened, it was like the fucking balloon popped. I was like, wait, what the fuck?
It's almost so mean to do to us as an audience where I'm like you're saying, I'm giving it okay, all right, it's fine. They didn't have a lot of money, so that looked bad. That worm looked terrible because they don't have a ton of money. Her makeup looks like shit, her wig, whatever. That's why I genuinely am like, I don't think it had a very big budget, right? Because they fucking spent it all on this dancing fucking demon. And to get to the end where this little fucking demon they have to fight I don't even remember where the fuck it comes from. Her body? Her stomach?
She throws it up and it comes out of the puddle.
Right. You're right.
Yeah.
Yep. Reverse births that, right? So she just goes and barfs that right out. It is insulting to me as an audience member to get to the end of this movie and going like, okay, it's not terrible, to see that and go, You made me fucking watch all of this. You made me fucking watch all of this for this weird little Rumpelstiltskin motherfucker up in here with his tiny little horns dancing around asking for his fucking name.
Dude.
Suck my fucking dick, dude.
Yes.
Get the fuck out of here. I'm so mad at you. I'm so mad at you because it was such a joke. I don't know.
It was a joke, dude.
Sorry. Nope. We're going to talk about this demon some more. Go ahead.
No. Okay, well, yeah, I have a thing to say about the demon. So you're at that point though, like we're not even done.
We're not even
because
fucking done.
then this fucking thing shows up and we proceed to have a fucking brawl with this fucking little tiny
WWE with this little dancing demon.
And I was just like, what the fuck is going on? And somehow it's incredibly strong. I was like, I get it. If you're gonna at least do the CGI demon thing.
I guess if you're gonna do that.
If you're going to do it, and it's going to be incredibly strong, please, for the love of God, at least make it like as big as that.
Yes.
Like, I just was like, this is wild.
Yes.
It did feel like a joke. I also was like, I'm offended.
Yeah, I genuinely, yes.
I'm offended that you felt like that was acceptable for me to watch as an audience member.
And to believe and to buy and to go like, yep, all of this stuff makes sense. That little demon fuck. This little fucking Napoleon over here, he wanted to murder someone with a peanut allergy. Yep, that makes sense. This little baby, dude. This little baby, he's so cute. He was so fucking
ridiculous.
Annoying. It's that whole end of the movie was an insult, I think, personally.
It was ridiculous. It was straight up ridiculous. Yes. They try to fight it, they can't because it's fucking strong. And then
take my strong
last
hand.
moment,
I kept saying, Trevor and I cannot take my strong hand.
Oh my God. And then in the last moments, Abby's like, you know what? I'm going to put a bunch of alcohol in my mouth and blowtorch this motherfucker. Again, you're like, where the fuck did this come from? This was such a weird choice.
Yes. And like, as somebody who did questionable things as a high schooler, like go to scary abandoned buildings sometimes with my friends, I promise you, the bottles of alcohol you find on the ground are not full of liquor still.
Do not contain any
Nothing.
liquor. Yeah,
I actually,
definitely.
If you have any young audience listeners, don't touch them. Don't touch them.
Yeah,
Do not touch those.
Dirty.
Super dirty.
Disgusting. Disgusting.
Yeah. So the fact that she had this whole bottle of this grape fucking basically Mad Dog, right?
Right. And like I also question, okay, I know I'm really splitting hairs here, but fucking I question the flammability of something like Mad Dog 2020. Because it's not like it's just vodka. Like, okay, sure, I would buy it if it was vodka. Yeah, it's just straight fucking whatever. Okay, anyway, go ahead.
We're already insulted by Tiny Demon Boy, okay? We're already insulted by him. Andrus, or whatever the fuck his name is. I am, at least. We're insulted by
I am.
Fire breathing bestie. We're insulted by all of it.
Fire breathing bestie. Yeah, exactly.
The one that feels like a true, maybe it feels like a microaggression. It feels like a major aggression to me is I am supposed to believe from the beginning of this movie, these two are best friends. Okay. I'm supposed to believe it. And they go through all these things and they know, Gretchen knows how to fuck with Abby with her makeup and she's so sad. Abby can talk to Gretchen's parents. Like she had this terrible thing. We've been together forever. Gretchen moves. Okay. And it feels like the most handshake of a goodbye that I have ever fucking seen.
Totally.
As someone who's one of my best friends betrayed me this year and moved away, I'll cry right now just thinking about it. It was terrible. It is Jessica, if you're listening to this, terrible. Okay. I'm out here naming names. Sorry, babe. But I just think like everything here.
And we're in our 30s.
Yeah, I'm 30. I'm in my 30s. Yeah. And I'm still crying at my best, my best friend's moving. If Tawny left, I couldn't take it. All of my best friends wouldn't live in the same state as me. But so I just think about the scene where they're supposed to be parting and I'm like, this is so stale. And you have taken away any flexibility I have given in this movie to say, okay, these two are BFFs and they're going to fight for each other and they're going to stick around even when it's hard. No, you're fucking not. No, you're fucking not. Go home to your light bright. Take all the little fucking pegs out because you A plus G are not BFFs.
Flush them. Flush them.
Flush that shit. Because if you were BFFs, you would be sobbing in that fucking driveway. Okay? You wouldn't drive up and go, oh, hey, you're moving. See you next summer at the fucking lake house where we had trauma.
I'll never forget
I'll never forget you. It's like, don't fucking do that to me.
Yeah. It is. You're right. It is so.
I don't know what's worse.
It just gets fucking worse and worse from that.
Terrible. If you can make it, if y'all are gonna watch it, and you can make it, or if you have watched it, right, and you made it that far, and you thought, I mean, I don't think it was that bad. If you're somebody's all, it wasn't that bad. Maybe give it a rewatch. With knowing that at the end, that's how they separate, supposedly as best friends, and go, you're right. None of this is fucking believable. None of this. Anyway.
Rough. Really rough in that back part. It almost reminded me of that stupid little Y2K dancing baby. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
I don't know why. It must have been the size.
It was the size for sure.
And the like not great computer graphics. It's not like they were terrible.
No, they were just like, I truly feel like they were just very low budget.
Yeah.
I'm sure
but if you have
there were some
such a low
volunteers
budget, dude,
from like a local school who were willing to make this like part of their project for like extra credit.
But here's the thing. Why would you do it to begin with?
Exactly.
Don't even have the fucking
do
thing.
it. That's what I was trying to say. That's what I was saying, right? About like there's two, you're not killing any darling, and you're just trying to hit this like mass audience of like, we have to have something scary, we have to have something happen, we have to do this, we have to do this. So it's like, kill something, kill the worm, save some money, and put it towards the demon. Like, pick and choose what you're going to do. I already am like a big practical effects over computer generated effects person. Like, if you do something practical, I'm going to be so much more flexible and like into it and forgiving for even if it doesn't look super great, because I just think it stands up better, and it just, you know, has this fucking thing. I know that it's probably cheaper to go with a fucking dancing Y2K baby demon, but like, yeah, is it like, what? I don't know. Don't waste our time as an audience. That's where I'm at. And some people, listen, some of you might think, I don't think it wasted my time. And I'm sorry. You're probably wrong. Your time was wasted. You just didn't know. You just didn't know.
I hope somebody enjoyed this movie. Like, I hope. I mean, you definitely haven't read the book probably, but you should. You should. I tried to think too, like, some of this. I was like, there's some things I'll watch or I'll read that are YA, and I'll go, I would have loved this when I was 13, which means I still like it. It just isn't what I like right now. I was going into this movie thinking that I was going to have that feeling of like, I would have loved this when I was 16. I would have loved this when I was 19, right? I would have loved this during my peak slumber party phase. Okay. I did not have that moment where I could identify when I would have loved this, because I don't think I would have ever loved this. And that is fucked up, because I liked some bad shit. I loved Spider-Man 3, you know? Okay. I also just tried to do that same mental exercise, and I also felt like I couldn't get there. Like, I couldn't get to a yes. Like, yeah, it's weird tonally, because some of the shit I feel like is for an older audience. It was rated R. I paused the movie to look it up. It's rated R, dude.
I'm pissed again now, because if you have an R rating, do anything different. Are you kidding me? Stop. I thought this was fucking like PG
13. Yeah, well, I know.
Honestly, PG.
There were a lot of cuss words.
That makes me so mad. It makes me so sad, actually, that they wasted an R rating. There are going to be people who don't watch this fucking movie because it's rated R. Like, there's going to be a whole group of kids. If you were, for a while, I was not allowed to watch anything that I was not rated for, so I didn't get to really watch PG-13 until I turned 13, and I couldn't watch R until I was 17. Stupid bullshit. Anna. Sorry, Mom. But that makes me mad, because that does make me think that there's going to be a group of people that this actually might appeal to better, that are not going to be able to watch it, or not going to watch it because it's rated R. And I think you fucking wasted that R rating with dancing fucking baby demon. Do something more fucked up.
it is probably better for that like younger audience, because then at least the movie feels a little dangerous.
Yeah.
You know, there's like people doing drugs and saying lots of cuss words
making
and
out
talking about fucking each
constantly.
other. Yeah, like it's dangerous. And so I feel like maybe if you were like 13, 14, I mean, I don't know. I don't have any concept of like what is actually acceptable to watch it at a different age, because I'm the
you're right.
opposite of
You
the
were-
spectrum. I just watch
Tawny
whatever
and I
the
are
fuck.
the spectrum here.
Yeah.
She's fucking watching Chucky when she was 5. I'm like,
Yep.
I'm sorry, is that rated R? I will not be watching that until I'm 17. Thank you. Jesus is gonna
Thank
make me burn
you.
in hell for that. Thank you. God, I'm mad at this movie. And actually, the fucking experience I had after I fucking watched it, everybody was like, oh, you hated it? And I was like, you liked it? You know what I mean? Like, okay. Am I crazy here? The farther away I got from it and the more it settled, usually I go like, oh, I wasn't so bad, whatever. No, not me.
Me too.
Not me. I got
too.
more mad and hated it more the farther away I got from it.
Yeah, the first time I watched it, right after we finished, I was like, that was all right. That was all right. That was all right. And then I thought about it, watched it again, and I was like, you know what? This is really not good.
not
Like, I
good.
was like, I had the same thought. Usually, the further I get, I like it more for whatever reason. I think maybe it was being too harsh. And then I was like, maybe I wasn't being harsh enough.
We were not being harsh enough. We weren't being harsh enough.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's talk about
So let's talk about the fucking book.
Let's talk about the book.
Also, I'm going to mention right now, we're about to spoil this book. So if you have seen the movie or haven't seen the movie but want to go read the book, just get out of this episode now.
Let me start off. Okay, let me just kick this fucking down. Right now, what I'm most mad about is that this fucking movie did not do any justice to any of the motherfucking girls from the book, okay? Glee in the book is a fucking badass. Her dad trades stocks for her and she bought her own fucking car, okay? She's got money because she earns her own fucking money, all right?
Crazy. I don't remember this.
Well, I did just reread it. Abby and Gretchen are BFFs from the book kicks off.
This is what I thought you were going to say. I'm so sorry to interrupt you, and I'll just turn it back over to you. But this is what I thought you were going to say. Because I am so fucking mad that they did not do justice to the length of time and the density that they were best friends.
Yes.
I was like,
how? Yes.
The book is bookended. Mm-hmm. Okay. The book is actually bookended from the very far future. We're telling the story in the past tense, right? But then as soon as that initial part is over in the beginning, then we get into we get a montage basically, right? Of them being friends for so fucking long. So cute and heartwarming and I did that with my best friend. You just feel it.
Always perfect. Literally scenes about them fighting on vacation together, right? It's true shit. So you're right. I'll start with fucking they meet. Abby is having a birthday party. She invites the entire class. It's very stereotypical, which I love. I love a fucking stereotype. I invited Abby's the poor girl at school, right? She invites everybody to her birthday party, but somebody else in the class has horses, and that person invites everybody to go horseback riding. It is so sad. Abby is alone at the roller rink for her birthday, and no one is showing up except for this fucking new girl, Gretchen, who shows up with her mom super late. Okay, there's talks about how her parents are lying. Oh, everybody must have gotten stuck on the bridge, right? And they're so thankful Gretchen's here, but Abby's pissed that Gretchen's here because this is a fucking weirdo, and she's upset because her invitation was first and everybody should have gone to her fucking birthday party. Then she gets the one present she's getting. It's from Gretchen, and because her parents are religious nuts, it's a fucking Bible. It's a junior Bible. And instead of the fucking thank you very much, Abby goes and has a fucking breakdown in the bathroom, right? Where Gretchen fucking follows her and talks about how she knows how much she loves E.T., right? She knows there's a whole E.T. birthday party, and they I don't know, they just bond there, okay? They bond there, and it's sweet, and you're like, this is sad, and these two fucking weirdos have found each other, even though one is very poor and one is very rich, whatever. We don't care because they're both fucking they're both soulmates, and they're both kind of ostracized in a different way, right? Whatever. Yeah. So that is what I would do differently. This is going to be book versus movie versus me talking about how I would have written the script. We would have started that movie with a young girl crying at a roller rink with an ET birthday party with nobody showing up and this chick coming late. And you would hear the parents talking in the background about how everybody must be stuck on the fucking bridge. And you would see that girl open a fucking Bible and she would cry and she would run to the bathroom.
Already better.
So much better.
Already
and
better.
that other girl, Gretchen, would go talk to her in the bathroom and be like, I wish I had gotten you. I wanted to get you an ET thing, but my mom wouldn't let me. Right. And then we see these fucking montages. You would see them fighting on vacation and making up. You would see them stealing stuff. You would see like years and years and years of friendship. That would take minutes.
Yeah, we could do it in the same amount of time that they took up
with nothing.
Like giving us like one scene in the beginning.
You would see all of that, right? And like I don't know. So I just think it could have been visually so much more appealing and like, well, not, it was fine, but like visually tell a story without all this exposition. So we go to this lake house. It is the 4 girls. Okay. It is 4 capable, smart, bitchy, and like bitchy in the most complimentary way. That is a Paige fucking favorite, is a character like that. Is a kind of bitchy, extremely capable high schooler. Regina George, love her. Okay. Love her. Hey, obviously she's a terrible character and she's the fucking antagonist in that situation, but like that Heathers, love them. Okay. They're not good fucking characters, but they're interesting and they're like spicy and they're capable and usually they're rich, and maybe that's like a weird bias I have that I don't know about, right? But like, so I am like, these are capable girls. 2 of them have gone and got acid in a very sketchy way. I think it was Margaret and Glee went, if I remember correctly, they went to go buy acid and the cops had raided the hotel room that they were going to go get acid from, and they broke into it anyway and took the acid anyway. So that right there, that little fucking nugget of sketchiness, as a reader, you're like, oh, I wouldn't trust taking this acid, but the people who procured the acid are not telling the people who are about to take the acid that. So just enough that maybe we don't trust this acid, right?
Right.
So everybody takes the acid and they go out and Abby goes streaking and she goes running into the fucking water and she wants to dive off the dock into the water. And they are screaming and they're like, don't do it. The tide is up. You're going to get fucked up.
Yeah, this moment, this I had one of the biggest problems with because I couldn't remember exact specifics about how this worked. But what I thought I remembered is, okay, yeah, they probably went skinny dipping. I was like, sure. I remember them being in the water. I remember them being in the water, and I remember her getting swept downstream from the water, which is completely out of everybody's control. I mean, obviously, she shouldn't have gotten in the water. But like, I thought, oh yeah, that's so much of a better mechanism because it's you just, nobody has any control over it and it just happens, and then they search and search and search, which gives you the indication that these people really care about her, right? And they're really worried, and then she does show up, and I couldn't remember again specifics, but I was like, I think there was the indication that she was raped or assaulted or something. I couldn't remember why, if it was like the clothes were torn or what, but I was like, that was so much of a better setup. There's like a perfect crossfade of, I think my friend might have taken some acid and it was crazy and she got
really
raped or assaulted in the woods. And so now she's having PTSD. But like, you start to think that less and less as the movie goes on. And then you're like, or as the book goes on, and you think more and more, oh, I think she's actually possessed. And that all culminates in a scene. And I'm sorry if I'm skipping around here, but I don't remember specifics, but I remember there being a scene where Abby goes to the house and goes into Gretchen's room, and she's like the smell is disgusting. The way that it's like described and everything was insane. And it's like, it smells like rotting meat. It's disgusting. It's cold as fuck. She looks terrible. And that's the moment, I feel like, in the book when this
she
bitch
fucking
is possessed.
shits on the floor, dude. She like takes a dump on the floor in the book in front of her mom's like having a fucking dinner party or some shit, and Abby's up there and they don't want her there, and Gretchen's fucking losing it, and she's like, your room is fucking terrible and it's cold and it stinks and all these things, and her dad's yelling at her, and she goes out and I think she shits on the floor, and like he goes up and he fucking tries to grab her and bring her back in. There's like this fight. Fuck. Okay, so when she calls in our boy Christian Lemon, he's great. He's fucking great in this book. So he's like, you know what, we gotta help, we gotta get this girl out of here. The sad thing is, and this is when we are at peak, like my best friend is possessed. She slits the throat of her own dog, which is one of the biggest problems I have with this book, because I hate anything like that. Sorry, y'all. But that's how you know, right? Is fucking Abby breaks into her house and she's gonna fucking drug her best friend, and her best friend's like, oh, this is your fault, and she fucking murder. Like, that is like peak.
That's what I'm saying, dude. The stakes are so high.
So our boy Christian Lemon is like, we are gonna exorcise this girl, right? She's having a hard time because she is watching Christian, this very strong bodybuilder, beat the shit out of her friend, basically trying to get the demon out of her. He like really goes to town on like to him, he does not care what happens to this body because all he cares about is purging this demon from this world. And to Abby, she's like, no, we got to save my friend. While all of this is happening, by the way, like, Gretchen's parents have come home and they see their kid is missing. They see there's blood everywhere, and they see there's drugs somewhere, and they see the dog is dead. Like, they think worst case scenario, Abby is part of a sex cult. Oh, also because Gretchen somebody stole a dead baby from a hospital, and or from like I don't know, they had a dead baby from something, and they brought it out and they framed Abby for like stealing this dead baby, and they've built it up to believe. It's like such a small little thing. I literally don't remember where it came from. I know that they all go as a class because they're fucking rich. They all go to gross anatomy, like a field trip where they see like dead bodies for a class excursion, because you know we have this idea that all these rich kids are going to be doctors kind of thing. And so there's like these elements, and so from that there's like, I heard there's like a dead baby kind of thing. So Gretchen has framed Abby that she is a drug addict who is part of a satanic cult, which in this town is like the worst thing that can happen, right?
Big deal. Yeah.
And it gets to the point where Gretchen starts to come back in waves, right? Where she's begging Abby to kill her, and she's like begging her for help, and she's like desperate, like, please just end this for me. I can't live like this anymore. I can't believe what I did. I can't believe what I did to you. I can't believe what I did to the dog. Like, she feels terrible. So you're like, oh, it's working. As the reader, oh, it's working. This is amazing. Christian decides he's going to pour boiling water down Abby's throat. So he brings out a kettle, which they do bring in the movie. There's a kettle of water, right? And he's got like a fucking funnel, and he's going to burn Abby's throat, because to him, the more you like damage the body or whatever, the less that the demon has to inhabit. And Abby stops her. I'm probably fucking mixing up Abby and Gretchen's names so much, so I'm sorry, you guys. But Abby stops him and is like, what the fuck is going on? And he has this moment where he realizes, I am over my head. I am way over my head here. And so he takes a step back and he's like, I'm going to go call my dad. He doesn't fucking see his dead mom and say, well, I'm out, right? He realizes, he looks at this teenage girl in a bed that he has essentially just beat the shit out of. And he goes, oh, you know what? I actually really fucked this up. And he's all, I'll be back, basically. I'm going to come back and I am going to help you exorcise this friend. So he's out to go get backup, right? Abby pulls out all the things, and to her, she's like, I'm going to fucking exorcise this demon on my own. And she goes into the fucking room and spends forever trying everything she can to get this demon out of her friend. And that is when, it's so cheesy to say, that she exercises her with the power of friendship, but she really does. But it really works in the book. It's so sweet because she realizes that there is no heart and there's nothing in these words that she's just saying, right? Like, there's nothing in this fucking like religious documents that is gonna resonate to this friend that she has lost, that is somewhere deep inside of like her own body suffering. And she starts fucking bringing up, like, by the fucking power of Phil Collins and shit, right? By E.T., the extraterrestrial. Like, she is going through all of this shit you built up from the... It's so earned. It's so good. It's so, like, again, unique to Grady Hendrix. Like, it's so fucking heartwarming. That's all I can say. And as she's doing that, somebody comes in and captures her, and it's the fucking police, because they think she has kidnapped and murdered, and she thinks she's a fucking satanic cult, and she's gonna get rid of her best friend. And why wouldn't they? Because she's already admitted many, many pages before that she's a drug dealer, right? So, like, why wouldn't this be? Because they live in the super religious Bible Belt of a town. Why wouldn't this be the gateway? This is what they've all been told, right? So she's falling into these steps of, like, this is real life. This is what's really happening. She's on drugs, and now she's a satanic worshiper, and she's fucking stole a dead baby. And the dog, fucking, his name was Max. Good boy Max, and he did not deserve to go out that way. Sorry, guys. So they kidnap her.
I do not remember this part.
Police come in, they scoop her up, they fucking arrest her, they take her off with her. She doesn't know what happens to Gretchen in that moment. Like I think she knows, but she like, you're kind of like, I hope it worked.
Yeah, I remember
it worked.
Leaving.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And they're separated because now she's been arrested for the like attempted kidnapping and this robbery and the death of this dog. Like she's in a lot of fucking trouble. In that moment, our boy Christian Lemon comes back, all right, into court, and he says, it was all me. She didn't do a single thing, because he had this moment of realization that he was like trying to exorcise this girl, simultaneously beating the shit out of her, trying to exorcise this girl because he was so prideful. And to him and his father, the only way to repent for his pridefulness is to go in and take ownership of all the shit that went down, because none of that should have happened. He is the reason that Abby is not just wasted away.
I love that there's so much just depth, and like this is such a dynamic story, because you have stuff in there about, like you're saying, like the community. Like, the entire town is kind of like a character. You know, you've got, like, how that whole thing feels, how the families feel. And then there's stuff in there about exactly, like, platonic best friends and, like, the intensity of that relationship. But then you also have stuff about, like, kind of, like, diet culture and how, like, she's trying to, like, lose weight. Like, whichever one, Margaret, I think, in both. And then you've got, like, the drugs, satanic panic, like... Yeah. It's so, and like it's religion, layers. How that affects people. Yeah, it's so just, I don't know. There's a lot of depth in the book that just totally, you know, and I get that you have to cut it down for the movie, right?
I get it too, but goddamn, if you have something so good, sorry to interrupt you, but if you have something this good, you could have a significantly better movie without it being 2.5 hours. I truly believe we could go and make this movie in that same time frame and do such a better job, because we know what the fucking story is about.
Right. Yeah. It's like it lost itself. You know, it lost the guiding star.
Oh, let me give the movie props. Let me give them their one props. Okay.
One prop. Okay, one prop. Oh, I have another prop also to add. We're just gonna end cap this with a couple of positive things, even though we shit on this movie straight up for like
2.5 hours. The
last couple of hours.
Okay.
I might edit this.
It's going to be much shorter.
Maybe won't be that far.
I hope it's much shorter.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first? Who's positivity? Okay.
You go first.
This is the book. If anybody hasn't seen it, the cover of the book is great. It has these rainbow lines across the book.
Yes.
They made the credits match the book. I was all, this is my favorite part of the movie, is how cute they made these credits.
That's very sad. I did like that. Like I mentioned earlier, I liked the wardrobe. I will say that Gretchen, I don't remember how they described the characters in the book, but somehow I feel like I did remember Gretchen, and
she was
fucking
great.
Nailed her.
I think visually. I do agree. Visually,
like,
she was great. I also don't I don't remember if they go super far into like her hair, her clothes, or anything. Probably do. But yeah, I do think she looked very good. I even think like that actress was like pretty all right. Like I would like to see her in other things.
Yeah.
The chick who played Abby was in 8th grade, so this isn't like her first movie or anything, but I feel like she did a terrible job. So I'm like, that's a bummer. But sorry, no, we're positive. Did you guys see those credits?
I will say the one thing that I really liked in this movie, and I can't remember if it was in the book at all, but I loved that scene actually where after she dunks her and she goes into the stall and she starts like stabbing herself with a thumbtack. I felt like that was very effective. I was like, This is very cringy. Like watching somebody do something so simple, something that you know is not going to like cause lasting damage, but watching her drive
So
that
gross.
thumbtack into her palm over and over again, like 87 times. It was so effective. I really liked that scene. I was like, this right here, this is great. I didn't like the shadows coming in from the corners. You know, again, get all the CGI out of here. You could have done this entire movie with none of that. Because I don't feel like it's not in the book. We never see anything.
Yeah, there's like whispering, but like you can do that very easily. I also just feel like in the case of the fucking giant tapeworm, right? If you make some, like Ron Weasley in the OG Harry Potters held some big ass fake fucking slugs in his mouth and barfed them out. Like you could have done something like that.
Yeah.
Now we're back on shit talking.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. We were trying to end it on a positive note.
Love those credits.
Those were our positives. I mentioned I liked that mom.
That was great.
That was great.
That was a good find. There it is.
But that's it.
The end of it.
Okay. We're ready to rate this. I'm going to go first. I think I'm going to give this like a 2.75.
So high.
I know, but okay, here's the thing. I was telling Paige while I was deliberating. We like don't choose movies that we know we're going to dislike. We specifically choose movies that we like or are new that we haven't seen. And so we really don't rate a lot of movies very low, but I gave Dreamcatcher a 2.75. So I feel like I don't know if I can give this less than Dreamcatcher.
Man.
You know, like I feel like I've kind of trapped myself.
I have news for you. This is your own these are your own rules, babe. You can do whatever you want. You can do that.
Well, yeah, true. You know what I gave less than that? That was 2.5. I gave to fucking You Should Have Left, which was like 2020 movie with Kevin Bacon. That was fucking bad.
I might have seen that.
And Insidious. I gave Insidious 2.5.
Wow, that's surprising, actually. I loved Insidious.
Yeah, Insidious, going back and rewatching it, I was
not as good.
No. Yeah, so I don't know. That's kind of where I'm sitting. A Dreamcatcher is not, I don't know. Maybe it is kind of a better movie in some very specific ways. Maybe I'll go to a 2.5. I'm going to do a 2.5 for now, and I want to hear what you say, and then I might change my
1.2.
1.2. Okay, 1.2 is it.
Yeah.
That's very specific.
It's just what it
Why a
feels
1.2?
Like in my heart, you know? Truly, I can't stop. I was thinking about it. I was all, what is the number? It's 1.2. It's not even 1.25. It's a 1.2. And I was like, maybe.
Wow.
So today I was like thinking about this rating, and I was all, maybe I'm just being too harsh. Maybe I've had too much time away from it. Maybe I'm too harsh. Maybe I just love the book too much to even like it. Maybe I am a toxic fan. All right. I'm trying not to be, but maybe I am.
Yeah.
I'm not. But thanks, boo. But I just think, fuck them for what they did to me. 1.2. Fuck them for little Y2K Rumpelstiltskin dancing demon baby. Fuck them for a stale handshake outside of a fucking house when your best friend is fucking moving. Fuck them for a Christian Lemon who's supposed to be a fucking good stand-up guy who just goes, well, saw my dead mom, gotta go. Fuck you. Fuck you guys. 1.2.
Done here. All right. Okay. All right.
I could justify it if I had to many other ways, but I just feel like being a little chaotic right now and going hard. Okay? Because what did that movie do to us?
Okay.
What did that movie do for us? Why does it deserve an over a 2 rating? I can't think of a single reason. Book, 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
7 out of 5. 10 out of 5.
Yeah.
Movie?
7 out of 5.
Fuck you for what you did to me.
1.2. 1.2, bitch.
Suck on that 1.2.
God, we really need to establish, Felicia and I, a 0 to 3, you know what I mean? Like scale. Like we really don't have a lot of stuff that's like below a 3. And so I think that's what's fucking me up. Like I don't actually know how bad this is because we never intentionally watch bad movies.
Here we are. This is the kicking down the door. You're gonna stick?
I think I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna stick with a 2.5.
Do it.
And maybe I'll, episodes later I'll change this.
You should update if you do change it.
It's bad.
It's bad. I'm sorry to come to the table with a bad movie. I love good movies.
You know what? I kind of liked talking shit about a movie for once. I mean, sometimes we say mean things, but like I said, most of the time we pick stuff that we know we're gonna like,
yeah,
or that we know we like, and maybe the other person
somebody in the group likes the movie. Like that's usually what you have is somebody is there to be like, no, I like this, and let me try to convince you what otherwise, right?
Yeah.
On fucking our podcast, sometimes, dude, we just fucking rip apart movies, and I hate that trait a little bit because I'm like, a lot of people worked really hard on it. We know we have film degrees, right? I don't know if y'all know this. Tawny and I are bougie.
We owe a lot of money.
We owe a lot of money for these film degrees. So I think about like, God, a lot of people got to work on this. People got paid to make this movie. That is such a hard thing to do, is to get paid to make this movie, to make a movie. And sometimes they're not great, but that doesn't mean that they didn't do their best, right? There are a lot of factors. So I try not to just shit on a movie. But then in this situation, I'm like, am I ever in a situation where I'm going to meet any of the people who made this movie? Probably not. And if I do, are they going to come back to this episode and listen to it? Maybe, because it's a great podcast, so they might. But I hope not. Sorry.
Hopefully not.
Not. Because 1.2, you know?
Yeah, I feel like the exact same way, and I feel bad shitting on something that somebody spent so much time and energy on, and it is like, honestly, I don't want to make anybody feel bad.
Maybe she didn't. Maybe she fucking, maybe the screenwriter fucking rushed this the night before. Maybe the director went drunk and fucking shot this. We don't know. Maybe they're shitty fucking people.
You're right. No clue what the actual situation is, so maybe we shouldn't feel so bad. But yeah, I feel that constantly, because it is like, it's so fucking hard to do a movie, to make a movie. And we know that. And so you don't want to be an asshole, but also there's some times when you're just like, oh my God, this is fucking garbage. Yeah. And so it is nice to sometimes rip something apart, you know, because you're like, this is bad.
It was bad. I'm sorry you watched it twice.
I mean, I barely, once and a half.
I'm sorry you watched it 1.5 times.
Yeah, never again.
No. Trevor told me in 15 years when they remake this movie, they'll be coming for my screenplay, so I got to write it.
That's true. So hopefully it doesn't take that long. You should just do it.
I should just do it and send it to Netflix and go, do you want my stepsister's exorcism? I wrote it. My cousin's exorcism.
Definitely no relation to my best
friend's exorcism. My aunt's exorcism. Yeah. Yeah. Fuck. Well, it's weird. How do you end this was shit?
Yeah, well, I'm going to ask you to plug your podcast one more time and tell people where they can find you.
Yep, you guys can check out Film versus Movie, which, by the way, goddamn, was this a movie? You can check out Film versus Movie on, I think, every podcatcher that you can. I don't know if we're not on anything. The best, if you guys are popping around, maybe check out our OG 50 Shades of Grey episode. That's a fan favorite.
Fan favorite, yeah.
Fan favorite.
As someone who's listened to that episode, yes. That's true.
It's a good one. So yeah, check that out, and eventually we'll put out another episode. Remember, awesome. I'm not promising you consistency. Just laughs.
Just laughs. Awesome. Okay, so next week we are going to do Halloween 3. I keep trying to like double check because Felicia usually does this part. Now I'm like fucking it up. But I'm pretty sure that's right.
I like that I got to be on a like, Felicia, love you. I would love to stay up till 4 a.m. like getting drunk with you guys. But I like that if we're going to have like a weird episode that she's not on, I like that I get to be weird with you.
Yeah. You're here for the like, like Felicia usually also does the planning. Yeah. Especially with like guest episodes and stuff. So that's why I didn't have any questions prepped. Anyway, I just like fly by the seat of my pants here. I mean, Felicia does too a little bit. Like, we're not super strict, but
I just want to say this right here. We're looking at the window of the alternate universe where we started this podcast when you first brought it up at work.
That's true.
Not planned out, shitting on movies.
Yeah.
If it was you and me, it would not be as successful. I'm sorry. I would love to say it would be, but I don't think it would.
It might be definitely more shitting on movies. That's, I think, something that we would say for sure.
Okay, yeah. Good. You're right. You know, it'd probably be just as successful.
But maybe it would be just as successful.
You're
so,
right. But I'm glad you met Felicia and have this podcast with her so I could meet her. So
we have a very good, like opposite skill set. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so that's nice because we balance each other out.
Yeah. Just a little, dip into the alternate reality of our lives.
Continue. Right. So that's what we're doing is Halloween 3. Felicia picked that movie because we're trying to do, this month doesn't really have a theme technically, but like we wanted to catch up on some brand new movies like Hocus Pocus 2 and this movie. And then the other picks are kind of more like traditional Halloween go-to movies. And so that's the one that Felicia picked. So that's what we're going to watch next week.
Awesome.
After she's back from her camping trip.
Right.
So
if she makes it back.
Yeah, she will. She's a badass and is not getting murdered.
She's not getting murdered. You're right.
And then you can support the show by going to our Patreon or giving us a like, review, and subscribe on whatever podcatcher you're listening to us on. I think we're also everywhere. But that's it. So we'll see you next week, and we hope you have such a good night. No nightmares.
Cute.